Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to the Western Shore. Right, so it is the morning of day 2. Last episode, we got our cows watered. I wanted to get them fed the same night because the sun was going down and the lights were on. Oh, it was beautiful. But something happened. I realized we had an articulated telehandler. And I got JCB because I thought it would fit well, right, on a UK farm, right? But looking at this yard, you know the way an articulated telehandler moves. It needs a little bit of extra space. It's got that wiggle. You know what I'm saying? It's got that shimmy shake in the booty. You need a little bit of extra room for it. I don't think this yard was going to work for an articulated telehandler. So I sold it, and I got this one instead. Four-wheel steering, I figure it's going to be great. The problem is, here's your problem. The problem is I bought it too late, and the gate at the store was closed, so I couldn't bring it up here. So we improvised a little bit. I did get some food into the cows, but we need to feed them. So it is the morning of day 2, and we're going to get about that business right now. You can see we did green up, right? We are running seasons, so we had bare trees yesterday. We've got some bright green on the trees. No dip in frame rate. We're still at 60, bumping on 60 capped. But I did notice last night as I was running around town with all the lights on, we were dipping into the 50s and sometimes the low 50s, high 40s. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. The game still looks great at 50 FPS. But there are some things that happen that can sort of tax the map a little bit. Tax my system. Right. So how do we do this? Well, I guess the first thing we'll do is All right. First thing we'll do is let's pull this out so we can have a little bit easier access to it. So to do that, we're going to hop in here. We're going to turn this back on. All right. Get this fired up and we'll get to work. Now, I also, off camera, I also brought in some additional mods. I brought in things like the front loader, front axle unlock mod. I brought in glance. You saw it up there in the corner. I'll show it to you again. Right? I brought in glance. I brought in the mixer add-on, the mixer mod, and that's going to slow down the process of making TMR, power food, rather than just throwing bales in there. And if you get the right mix, it's instantly TMR. Now you actually have to turn the mixer on and let it run for 30 seconds or so. So just some little sort of scripty housekeeping mods like that. I like those sorts of mods. I really do. And some of those things, I mean, we can say, oh, it'd be cool if that was in base game. Yeah, maybe. But in a way, I almost like that it's not in base game. And the reason why is that gives us an opportunity to bring in only the mods that we want. So I think my FS17 mod folder right now sits at about 150 mods. And initially I thought, oh, it's like 25 script mods, 25 sort of functional mods, and the rest are tractors and implements and that sort of thing. I think it's closer to half and half. I would say it's about 75 scripty mods and about 75 sort of, I don't know. I don't want to call them decorative mods. That's not the right word. But you know what I mean? Tractors and stuff. Vehicles. Good way to say it. And now where do we want to put this thing? Well, I need to get the bucket on our telehandler swapped out for that bale fork over there before we do a whole lot more. I'll tell you what, we can leave this right here. Maybe this is a tight yard. I'll tell you what, man, this is a very tight yard. In a good way. Right, so now we need to, let's do this next. Let's get our bucket swapped out. So we go in here, right? I am so used to the way the gearbox add-on for 19 works, where it's constantly resetting the camera. I know there is a way to reset the resetting, but I feel like, now where do we want to put this? Just for now, let's put it in front of this roll door. I know there's a way to reset the resetting, but I haven't had good luck with it. So in 19, every time we get in a vehicle, it bounces the camera back to that overhead sort of third person from behind. You know what I'm talking about. So it's different to be back in 17 where the camera does not do that. Okay. So we can now, this is going to make sense momentarily. Front wheel steering, crab steering, left crab steering, right, all wheel steering, that's what we want. Let's get this back out of the way. This is like the shenanigans that you have to go through with a tight yard. So drop this back down so nobody trips over it or gets impaled on it. We'll set the brake, and now we can pull this forward a little bit, because where it is right now, we've got no room to work back here. So we pull this forward. Oh my goodness. We pull this forward. And I think even this is going to be a little, this is going to be kind of weird. But we'll make the most of it. Okay. So is that, well, it's going to have to be. So, all right. I'm nervous. I'm nervous I'm going to bump this thing and knock all the bales off it. Now, I did sort of ponder, as we were swapping out telehandlers, I did sort of ponder, you know, we could save a ton of money by just using a front loader. That is a true story. However, we're going to be stacking a ton of bales because we don't have an auto-loading trailer. All right, might have to concentrate here. We don't have an auto-loading trailer. And if we've got the Massey on a trailer, right, on this bale trailer, and is it this one? It is. Surprised I remember that. If we have the Massey on the bale trailer and we have the JCB doing something else, then we're going to need a way to load bales. All right, very carefully. Very carefully. All right. So I think a telehandler is a good idea. It is an expense, but unless we want to go to a third tractor, oh, now what do we do? I guess we can back the body of the telehandler into the shed, but not the boom. Oh my goodness. Tight yard. Okay. And then up. Right? And then over. And then in. Oof. All right. So I think this is, it's not an ideal fix, but I think it works. And now we want to go, ooh. Now we want to go here, here, here I sit. Oh, we got some overlap between camera and our boom control. Like that. I know this is a little bit jerky. I know. I used to have, once upon a time, I had a flight stick configured. Like so. Got it? Got it. Concentrating. Maximum concentration. Once upon a time, I had a flight stick configured for all these functions, but I found I wasn't really using it because I still had gamepad for everything else, and if I took my hand off the gamepad to use the flight stick, it's like I was losing half the controls that I use for things that I'm so used to using them for. Does that make sense? I think the only way the flight stick works is if you have wheel and pedals, which I do have, but I do not use. Whew, that worked out. But I do not use them for farm sim. I think it's because you get out and walk around, and again, it's just too much switching back and forth from this set of controls to that set. Right, so we'll set the brake. I suppose we can turn this off. Save a little fuel. And yeah, let's strap these down. I would just feel better. I know, nothing's going to interfere with this trailer or touch it in any way, but without, oh, I smacked my knuckles on the desk. Without auto load, chaos could ensue. And I don't want to put those back on there manually. Right. We'll pull up to the gate before we go through it. I don't want to open it and have wily cows getting out. Right, brake is off. Mixer is on. You see the little countdown there. Man, more realistic does not play when it comes to using power. With this mixer on, we just really don't have a lot of power left to get up that little hill. I love it. All right, so we go through there. And I did do this last night, so I know where the trigger is. Don't want to... You know, we're all about realistic and accurate gameplay here, so I don't want you to think that I'm, like, magically aware of where the trigger is. I found it last night. So, right in here. And I'm actually going to pull up here and stop, close that gate, and then we'll do our, right, we'll do our slow pass. Carefully back up there, close this gate, right, we're stuck. There we go. Now, brake is off. We'll look for our trigger. There it is. There we go. And we'll get this trough. It won't be full, but it'll be full enough to keep our cows alive for a few days. All right, there you have it. Turn that off now. And you can pull in one end of this shed and out the other end so you don't have to back up, which I think is nice. Brake set. There we go. A couple of other mods that I installed off camera. I installed the hard manure mod, which will, if we apply hard manure, slurry, or digestate to a field, if we then cultivate, subsoil, or plow that field, it will give us a double fertilizer perk, buff, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. We'll get 2 times the benefit. And the mod that I was trying to remember the name of that I could not in the first episode is the straw add-on. And what that does is if you spray chaff in a field, if we were to harvest a wheat field or a barley field or something, if we were not making a swath and we were throwing chaff instead, same thing. When we then cultivate, plow, or subsoil that in, that counts as fertilizer. Some people call it the green manure mod. But we've got those running, and there were a couple others. But like I said, they're sort of invisible housekeeping mods. You know, is how I think of them. Right, we'll get this open. Oh, and I suppose, well, let's pull through the gate now that it's open. But I suppose we should check and see how we're doing. I want to say our food is going to be about 2/3 full. Now, we haven't thrown any straw in yet, so I don't know where the trigger is for that. But what I will most likely do off camera is unload the bales that are on the trailer now, put those in a neat stack somewhere, somewhat, allegedly, and then we'll go down and get some straw bales. We'll buy some straw bales, and next episode I will get one of those in, and we'll have to find out whether or not we have a trigger, a bale destroy trigger, or whether we need to shred those in there. Either one is okay. I don't really have a preference. Now, how do we want to do this? I don't have the equipment packed in those stalls tightly enough, so we're sort of running out of room. Let's do this. Just for the moment, I'm going to stuff this back here. It won't live here. I just need to get it out of the way. So just for the time being, we'll put this right here. Right about here. Yeah, right here. Drop that. Get this bale trailer backed up. Time, 15 minutes. That's okay. So I want to get the bucket back on our telehandler, and let's see about getting those right there. There it is. We'll see about getting those cows cleaned up, and also take a look in our menu and see how they're doing. I know they don't have any straw, and I believe we need to manually put grass in the trough. I thought I had read in the description for the map that they would eat from the pasture, but perhaps not. Right. Okay. They're almost, well, they're full on hay. They're almost full on power food. They have plenty of water. They do need to be cleaned. And now it also says they need wheat or barley. That's interesting. I don't know if that's a base game thing or if that is unique to this map. Right. Bucket. So we go in here. Get that started. We're going to pull this forward and just drop this right where we had it before. I think this is, at least for the moment, I think this is a good home for this thing. It's out of the way. Nobody's going to trip over it. Hopefully. So we go right over here. Right. Get this thing going. Beautiful. Now back up here. I know, was it was Holzer map for 19, where the floor food was, the type was actually swapped over to manure. I mean, I guess I sort of like that, in that you couldn't necessarily recycle floor food. But, I mean, it is floor food. There could be, like, this is obviously floor food. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing both. Right? That we had floor food here and perhaps manure somewhere else, and we had to clean up both. But, not a big deal. So we'll get this cleaned up. Brake is off. Got to get the angle just right on this, as you know. Like so. Yeah, if you get it too high, it doesn't pick everything up. If you get it too low, can't steer the thing. That. Okay, now that's just calling it regular grass, which works out because we need to put some grass in our trough. This is only going to be a tiny, tiny little bit. Maybe, yeah, it looks like about 100 liters. I mean, it's more than nothing, but it's essentially nothing. It's really not that much at all. So we will need to get some grass in there. Hopefully we can do that within the next few episodes. Although at the moment, all of our grass is showing as harvested. If we can fertilize it, if it is crop grass, that's a good thing because it gives us more time to get fertilizer on it. If we cannot fertilize it, then it just means we have to wait longer, right? I would rather, if it's meadow grass and can't be fertilized, I'd rather we be mowing it now, but if it hasn't grown yet, what can you do? So we'll go here now. Now this always messes with me. I always seem to somehow get this wrong, and I end up dumping food more or less on the floor, and then I can never pick it up. So let's see if this goes in the trough. I think we got it. So that means let's get this out of reverse so we don't have that sound, and then we'll take a look here. Yeah, we did get it in the trough. Okay, cool. Now, because all that is done, we can park this thing up, hop in our Ford County, and head across the highway and start throwing a little pellet fert. All right. Do that. Close that. Yeah, it won't have. It will not have a process that we cleaned up, so we'll still have. You know what I mean? It'll still say our cleanliness is at 68%. It'll take a few minutes for that to cycle through, but I hope we can get our productivity up higher. We have to manually sell milk, too. Interesting. All right, so we get this parked up right over here. Beautiful. All right. Drop this down. Take the weight off the hydraulics, like so. Beautiful. Now, we need to find a gate for this field. Oh, that was easy. Found it. And that, are we looking at the right field? We are looking at field 49. Okay. So we get this open. Go hop in our Ford County and see if we can get some pellet spread. I do have the GPS mod installed. However, there's been a green star bolted onto this thing. I do not see a GPS aerial on this vehicle, and I definitely don't see one on this vehicle. So perhaps we do it manually, you know, just to be legit. What? Why can I not see? There it is. I couldn't find my own tractor. All right. So we go. Can we go out the back? I don't think we can. We can turn around back here. Let's do that. I really do love the way More Realistic makes these tractors feel. Oh, it's fantastic. Very slow, very stately. You can feel the weight of them. I can feel the weight, brake effect, everything. It just seems a lot more realistic and a lot less arcade. You know, it does feel more like a proper sim. Proper sim. Get through here. Yeah, I'm seeing kind of a frame drop right there. I don't know if you caught that. We dropped way down. Okay. I mean, in fairness, it is a massive and massively detailed map, and we do have our settings maxed out. So, need to expect that. Now, when we go low angle again, low angle, high angle, I don't know, whatever this angle is, then, of course, we bump all the way back up. We come down here, you know, where you're rendering a ton of polys. It does drop down a little bit. Right here where it's 60, I imagine if we turn around and look at the farm, yeah, we drop down to 50. Yep. Not unexpected and very, very reasonable. All right. Now we are running, this map is built with the GM SYK. Oh, I don't know. It's the, well, you'll see momentarily here. All right. How do we want to do this? We still need to cultivate in the subsoil and everything else. So there's no problem with us driving across this field. We don't need to worry about compaction because the field will be. We're gonna prep the seed bed. I've been studying agricultural science. I'm not even joking. This whole farming thing, it fascinates me. But because we are going to be preparing this field to receive seed, we could drive across it and not need to worry about compaction. But I'm still just, my OCD says stay on the grass verge. All right, so we come over here. Time 24 minutes, perfect. We may not be able to finish this evolution, but we will be able to start it, no doubt. All right. I want to say this thing has got a pretty wide spread. About like so. All right. There we go. It's a nice texture for fertilizer. Yep, I like that. We can get rid of some of this. Clean things up a little bit. Come on, Ford County. You got this. Eventually, allegedly. I really do like this game. My goodness. What a concept, man. What an idea somebody had. What if there was a game where you could pretend to be a farmer? Absolutely amazing. All right. Nope, looking for another gear. Finding one. We got another gear, do we? Yeah, we do. We do. That is, if there is a downside to gearbox add-on, it is that when you're in the automatic mode, you can't really force a gear. You can't force it to stay in an appropriate lower gear. As soon as the revs bump up, it jumps to that next higher gear. And as a result, you eventually then have to downshift and lose your momentum, and the whole process repeats. I would prefer if you could hold it in a higher gear, but at the moment, that is not that's not possible in the automatic mode. If you're in manual mode, then of course just don't upshift, and you'll be fine. All right, so now we're gonna make a pass downhill. Right, downhill. I said. There we go. Just trying to get backed up all the way to the grass verge, but now, oh geez, now we got the opposite problem. Now we are just hauling ass. All right, slowly, carefully. A little bit of overlap there. All right, time. All right, time 27 minutes. Let's do one more pass and we'll call it. I'll finish this up off camera. You know what? Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Let's just go ahead and knock this out. And our video may be, you know, 32, 33 minutes, but... Oh, come on. Now, you know what I could do? Here we go. Here's some thinking. I could have done this side hill, and we would not have had these problems. Yeah. Yep. Living and learning. This is... Yeah, that would have been... Well, yes. Yes, because that's... As we're looking left to right, that's a pretty significant grade. And while we do have a grade from left to right from this angle, it's not nearly as steep. And I know, I mean, there's a little bit of course, there's a bit of artistic license in Farm Sim. It's not 100% realistic. It can't be. But we would be, in real life, we would be turning this spreader on and off repeatedly, because right now you can see we are just absolutely hammering this section of field. And there are sophisticated GPS-controlled spreaders that increase and decrease the rate based on, well, everything. But we're not running that right now. In our simulated farm, our simulated tractor, our simulated spreader, we're not using those technologies. So what I should be doing is turning this on and off so that we don't cover certain areas of the field with too much FERT and other areas not enough. But all of that could have been mitigated by me just going side hill, which is what I should have done. But you know what? We know for next time. We know for next spring. All right, so turn that off. Try not to drive in the hedge. You want to finish up? Yeah. Since we learned our lesson, let's finish up side hill. And yeah. So we go right here. Cruise control is set. Cruise control is a little fast. All right. About like so. Oh, don't drive through the hedge. About like so. Back across this way. Yeah. Oh, hey. I got an achievement. Forgot about those. I'm curious if there's a way to turn those notifications off, or at least not have them display on screen. not a big deal. So we'll go right over here. Right over here. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay, so we know for next time, as big as this tractor is, and with it only having a broadcast spreader on it, it still struggles up those hills. So we'll go side hill in the future and avoid that drama. Like so. All right, get this backed up. And then right back out here. So next episode, I think we're going to take the JCB to this field and get it started on a subsoiler. And then we'll take this rig that we're in right now and go see if we can fertilize our grass fields. I really hope we can. That'd be fantastic if we could get a nice... now in 17, the most you can get is double. Yeah, same as 19, but there are slightly different steps to make that happen. But we'll see if we can get a double grass yield. Watch our overlap on the left. That's a little bit excessive. Yeah, there we go. That's better. So we'll get this field, and I guess we'll put wheat or barley or something in this field so we don't have to buy straw bales continuously, right? We just want to buy them for this season because we have to. Come on. Come on, Ford County. You got this. Beautiful. We'll buy them this season because we have to, but I don't want to buy them next season, especially when we have a much bigger dairy operation and we're going to need a lot more of them. So we'll plant wheat or barley or something in this field, and I imagine we'll just rent a combine harvester year one. There we go. We got this last little bit right here, which I believe we can finish up just like so and end up in the gate. Oh, that's fantastic. Set the brake, hop out, check for traffic, because there's traffic everywhere on this map. And I think we can call it right there. There you have it, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 17. This is the Western Shore by Bullet Bill. We'll see you next time. Take care now.